Hey Sagittarius, we've got St. James the Great as our mentor for this stage in the hero's journey. So we are on that, was it the fourth stage? The mentor or the teacher stage of the hero's journey. And the Jack of Clubs would be the equivalent to like the knight or page of wands in a tarot deck. And I wanted to pick the holy playing cards for this stage in the hero's journey just because of the various saints in this deck. Maybe there's some sort of synchronicity there for you. Something, one of their qualities could be specific to something that you're going through right now. Something could be helpful to you. But the complex that I wanted to get into in this stage is actually hubris and ambition. And if you're familiar with the story of St. James the Great, I could not have planned this better if I tried. I picked the Knight of Wands as a significator, but the backstory to St. James the Great, he had asked Jesus if he could give him and his brother, what was it, the right and left hand seats in the kingdom of heaven, like the right and left hand seats next to Jesus. And Jesus told him that that's not an honor for him to even to be able to bestow. So, a fitting character for talking about hubris and ambition. So let's start getting in some cards and let's get into it. Hi, kitten. So nice of you to wait until I start recording to start talking. So let's see. St. James the Great. And not to be confused with James the Lesser, one of the other apostles. And his brother John was John the Apostle. And I'm pretty sure that's John the Apostle from, is it? From the Book of Revelations? I might be wrong, but his mother was the sister of Mary, the mother of Jesus. So a lot of family tree in there. So maybe that's a theme for you. We'll have to get more into it, get more context to see. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, Jesus. Christ the King. And this would be King of Wands, King of Clubs. So interesting, really leaning into that hubris and ambition theme. But this, just in the way I lay things out, it's like he's putting himself above the Christ. So definitely some hubris there, but about what? Because King of Wands, I mean, Wands is going to be the creative suit. So I kind of wonder, there's some sort of like competition between two people, or perceived competition from one side. Let's see. Who do we have? Saint Anthony of Padua, who I'm not familiar with. Two of Wands, Two of Clubs. And Saint Teresa of Calcutta, Five of Spades. Five of Swords in reverse. So this is like a delayed, a stalled journey or something, or progress. And then this is a card of conflict. So perceived conflict with someone over a delay. Get into the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Try and get a little more context as to what is this perceived conflict about? Is it whoever is playing the role of Saint James the Great in this? There's like envy or something, some sort of misperception of someone else involved here. Optimism. Moon in Sagittarius. And it's in reverse. So... and in this deck, I would read that as retrograde as well. So you can take that really literally, you know, pessimism. But that's not quite what I'm getting here. This is like feigned optimism. I don't know about what yet, though. Is that like reluctantly accepting what somebody else has to say, something like that? Because to go along with this analogy of St. James the Great, you know, asking for those seats to the right and left hand of Jesus, like, he was known to have a temper. And this card too, well, I'll get into that tangent, but he may have begrudgingly just accepted what Jesus had to say, that like, hey, I have no control over like who ends up at my right and left hand in the kingdom of heaven. And when I was looking up the planetary associations, there was a conflict in information, and because St. James the Great is a patron saint of Spain, I went with what my Spanish deck said, and it's Mars in Sagittarius. So a fiery temper. And that could be a teacher in your situation, in your journey that you're on. Somebody that's has like a hot head. Because, you know, like they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's not always like a Mr. Miyagi, like somebody who's wants to see you succeed. This might be somebody that wants to see you fail. And the lesson is going up against them in some way. Oh, I'm taking... actually, I'm going to take that too. All of these. But revenge, Mars in Scorpio. So yeah, somebody that wants to see you fail. It's definitely what I'm getting from the Medusa vibes. Riches, Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn. And indecision, Venus in Libra. Which I think is the transit that just happened. Actually. Pretty sure. So indecision, riches, and revenge. And false optimism. little confusing. These energies seem kind of split in two. Like riches and indecision go together, and optimism and revenge go together. So it's like smiling in your face and getting ready to relieve you of your head in your sleep, you know, in accordance with the Medusa myth. Although I don't think he was ever, anybody was under any kind of misgiving about Perseus' intent with Medusa. But indecision and riches. And Saturn in Capricorn is a really hard placement. Ask me how I know. But something going on with money. And it doesn't have to necessarily be literal. This could be like the riches of reputation, you know, because that's what St. James would have been getting for him and his brother with those seats. But there's just no conflict that, like, these riches aren't available. But for some reason, there's a perception that, like, St. James in this scenario is being stopped. So being stopped from what? Because I feel like the perception is being stopped by whoever is Jesus here. Mind your ego. But let's see. What is the perceived stoppage? Saint Catherine of Siena. 3 of clubs, 3 of wands. A journey. A journey stopped? And there's a lot of wands. A lot of fire. And, I mean, I feel like you can't really bring up hubris without talking about Icarus. So think of it from the perspective that Icarus was raised in darkness because his father was the architect of the labyrinth. And, I mean, he was working while Icarus was growing up, and so as soon as Icarus got a taste of the sun, he went straight for it. And ended up, you know, melting his wings. And it's not... That wasn't his hubris. That was the hubris of his father. To think that he could stop Icarus from flying towards the sun. It slipped right through my fingers. I guess just like Icarus. We have Saint Bernadette, 2 of cups, but it's in reverse. Saint... Oh, I'm going to butcher this. Pio of Pietre Lucina. 8 of diamonds, or 8 of pentacles. And Saint Michael, the Archangel Michael. Ace of spades, swords. Maybe you just need to listen to Motorhead. So, 2 of cups in reverse. The thing that's coming to mind is the caduceus. The symbol that you see on, like, medical buildings and such. So an unhealed connection. An 8 of pentacles, I mean, that's work. That's mastery of your work. The artisan. And then clarity. But if something was stopped, this like a union was stopped? A union with something someone loves, potentially riches. But a journey towards that. Mastery was stopped, and then truth was stopped? And Archangel Michael, he is mentioned in many places, but what's it? The War Scroll. The scroll of the War of the Sons of the Light. It's mentioned in that. And then the Book of Revelation, I believe. The rebellion against Lucifer. Or Lucifer's rebellion against heaven. But those were the two main players clashing. It kind of seems like if that is halted, though, like a conflict was halted, that would seem like a good thing. This really kind of has me stumped. We'll get a little more detail. A perceived stoppage to a union, work and truth, or work and a battle. We've got independence, moon in Aquarius, and criticism, Mars in Virgo. And go your own way is what just started in my head. Someone doesn't like your independence, but it feels hidden. Like I feel like I'm kind of grasping at straws here. Like I'm trying to get into the energy, and it's like I can't get into it. Like it doesn't want to be seen. Like on the outside, you'd want to, like if you were St. James, you'd want to come across like it's no issue that you don't get these seats, or you're not guaranteed these seats. You know, you can't get in with the big guy. You have to actually earn it. You'd want to come across gracious. But there's someone saying, like, it just doesn't work that way. Get one more of these. And does that somehow stop them from doing something? I don't know St. James' background that well. I don't think it necessarily stopped him from doing anything. Discovery in reverse. That's like the vibe that I'm getting. Something doesn't want to be seen. but it is seen in this. And Discovery, this is Mercury in Sagittarius. So there's a disapproval of your independence, or maybe just your position on something, even though you're just telling the truth. And on the outside, like, there's that mask of, oh no, it's fine, like, no problem. But really, they're stewing, and, like, we can all see it. Like, we can see the steam coming out of your ears. So, why is this an issue? Because, I mean, disappointments happen, you know. You don't always get what you want. Rolling Stones. Yeah, why is this an issue? Outside of just normal, like, being disappointed sucks. St. Thomas Aquinas. 3 of spades, 3 of swords. So, the initial interpretation is generally like heartbreak, because, like, in the Rider-Waite and many other decks, this would be a heart being pierced by 3 swords. And another way to interpret that is logic over emotion, you know, swords over the heart. Interesting choice, St. Thomas Aquinas, too, for being more logical. I'm blanking on the things that he wrote, but I learned about him in philosophy class at college. So logic over emotion. Why is this an issue? I still don't understand. King of Cups, the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And Saint Benedict, 7 of Cups. Illusion. And this can also point to drinking. The illusion created via imbibing. It's like seeing through the illusion, like seeing the real emotion behind the mask. Like someone is trying to maintain the logic over emotion, but like we can still see the steam coming out of your ears. The true emotion beneath. Saint Maximilian Kolbe, 5 of Pentacles, so loss. And these like striped garments in the background, it's giving me the boy in striped pajamas. If you haven't read that book, don't look up anything about it and listen to the audiobook. Just take my word for it. Because that's how I experienced that book. I didn't know anything about it, and the synopsis was blocked out with a, like, don't look anything up about this. And that was really just like nothing else I'd ever experienced with a book. Very sad. But that's just what it's giving me. There's some pretty significant twists in that book to say the least. But that's that, like, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this without giving any spoilers. It's been out for a little bit, but it's just like not seeing something coming. Matches with the illusions, and that would cut straight to the heart. So it could be like trying to maintain. It could also be emotional repression. And then eventually you cut down to the heart of the matter through surprising circumstances. What are these surprising circumstances? I want to know what the surprise is. Oh, loss. Saturn in Pisces, but it's in reverse. And I'm not getting like that this isn't loss. This is almost like a tower in reverse. Like deep loss, resisting loss. The type of loss that will cut down to the bone. But backing up, this almost seems like a hit to the ego, because I mean, we are talking about hubris. And I mean, if you put it in context of like a hero's journey, this could be surpassing the teacher. And then that hits them right in the hubris. Right in their ambition. Because there's some sort of perception that, like, it's like an either-or perception is what I'm feeling. Like, if you succeed, they fail. It can't be, oh, we succeed. And I don't know. Like, I've never been a teacher, but I would imagine that, like, if your student fails, that feels like a personal failure. And if they succeed, yes, of course, it's their success, but it's like a we thing. It's like an us thing. We got there together. But those complexes, you know, complicated little things that they are, they can run the show without asking for permission, as it were. And we've got drama. Mercury in Leo. So that deep loss, potentially exacerbated by some imbibing. There could be some big feelings coming out around that. And especially this graphic here, this like Celtic knot looking deal. It's giving me like an Ouroboros that's like twisting in upon itself. Doesn't know which way is up. So, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but Emotional delay is pretty on brand for me. And like when my lid blows, it hits the ceiling. Unfortunately. And that can be pretty dramatic. And it's like a seemingly small thing that will set it off. And in many cases, that could be trauma, or it could be a complex, like we just connected to something in the subconscious that it just makes you seemingly act out of character, when really there's a deep buried reason for the way that you're acting. You just haven't been able to connect with it yet, for whatever reason that may be. But we've got another Mars card. So I guess the Mars in Sagittarius association was the one to go with. But we've got Mars in Taurus, defense, and Sun in Pisces, vision. I thought we got another eye card. Had an eye on it. Yeah, criticism. It's giving Big Brother, like 1984. Being watched. This is seen. And, I mean, the apostles, we've got the stories of the Bible, of them in the Bible. Like, they were being watched, like, by each other and whatnot. So, you get, like, multiple perspectives on different stories from different people. And defense in reverse. It's like something got through. Got through those, like, logical, rational defenses. This is, I'm getting, like, blind with rage from this. Because Pisces, that's, well, that's another illusion card. Because the 12th house, that's illusion, delusion. And the same can be said for the 7 of Cups. So something about this situation shattered an illusion, like an expectation or something. Huh. So what does that mean for us? Like, I'm trying to think of the question. It's like 42. Like, that's the answer, but what's the question? Because what happens next seems too simple. Maybe I can just get a hint, get something to anchor into. Something feels really hidden because my mind's just going blank, and this keeps happening. It doesn't usually happen this often. So what's being watched? Oh, and that did remind me, because I set up with the holy playing cards and then the fallen angel deck. When I was in meditation, I was getting a lot of I mispronounced this, Azazel. It's been on my mind a little bit since that dream from the Virgo black moon that I had. That was a really unusual dream. It's about the passing of like a senator or something, and I was like their assistant, something to that ilk, and someone had planted a BOMB, but there were documents there in my handwriting, like indicating that I was ill, that I hadn't written. It's a really, really unusual dream. But these flipped over on the device that I was describing. And there was like a weird, like I switched perspective into that person's eyes. Oh, in the eyes. Yeah. We've got Joan of Arc, St. Joan of Arc, 4 of spades, 4 of swords. Is that right? Yeah. And St. John Paul II, 2 of swords. So confusion. Confusion and rest? Well, and this depiction in the Rider-Waite, it's kind of like a sarcophagus. Very ornate. So that is giving me kind of on that theme of like something nefarious was going on, and then the confusion, like don't look this way, like don't look over here because something bad is going on. But this seems so strange. It's being watched, and Azazel is like the leader of the Watchers, the fallen Watchers from the Book of Enoch. And the Angel of Forbidden Knowledge. I'm just getting so much like something doesn't want to be seen. And just that dream, it was like very shocking to me to see something I hadn't written in my own handwriting. Archangel Raphael, the healer, Ace of Cups, and it's in reverse. And I'm getting like the dumping out of the cup, like the contents are seen. And to my knowledge, James the Great was not trying to do anything nefarious. It's just hubris. Like, you get the seat that you get in the kingdom of heaven if you get there. And Archangel Raphael is who shows up on the Lover's card. We did get the 2 of Cups in reverse. Gemini? But don't look over here because something's unhealed. And maybe that led to some sort of wrongdoing. This is confusing. And just in this context, this definitely doesn't seem like a mentor that is guiding you. This seems like a teacher that, like, you're opposing. This is a conflict. Yeah. Didn't flip. Almost. What is this wrongdoing? Or what was the intended wrongdoing? Because I'm getting like that perceived stoppage. Oh, there we go. Where did it go? This one? Inspiration. Mercury in Pisces. Cover her up. Inspiration is the wrongdoing? I'm gonna need more. Ooh, power. Moon in Scorpio. And it's in reverse. That's an interesting card. The Gateway. An organization. Mercury in Capricorn. So a lot of communication and more Gemini because of Mercury. And I'm noticing the wheat here too. I was seeing that. It's giving Demeter, Persephone's mother. An organization, I don't know if it's because I've got all the church cards out, the saint cards, but I'm getting, like, not being organized, like an organization, like the Hierophant. And maybe it's because of power. It's going right back to that hubris of, like, you thought you could guarantee your seat. And for all the wrong reasons. And it seems like there's just somebody involved, maybe you, who's just telling the truth. There's Jesus. There he is. Just of the way things are. And that's like leading to some sort of bitterness. But that bitterness is being seen for some reason. I mean, maybe it's just obvious off of this person, but it feels like it's being observed. Maybe that's just that Watcher's vibe. This feels a little disjointed. You know, maybe getting a lot of information with all these saints and doing the playing cards and whatnot, but we'll get an angel card here. But maybe this is something that, you know, because we just came from the refusal of the call. Maybe this is just something that you needed to overcome to progress from the flickering of the candle. That's what I'm getting. But something to overcome so that you could progress on your hero's journey. Like there's some sort of lesson in whatever this weirdness that doesn't want to be seen that you're dealing with that's going to be important later on. Like it might not be the what is that? Like you get the exact thing you need. Maybe it's leading you to that. I don't know. It's like foundational or something. We'll have to see as we progress down the hero's journey. I'm just going to cut this. Zadkiel, Angel of Mercy. I'm going to read the book. Is there a number? No. I see a scale there, though, so it's giving justice vibes. Such cool art. And this is the Angelarium, Oracle of the Fallen. Nope. And these are not in alphabetical order. Alright, Zadkiel, Angel of Mercy. When sins were punished, the king chose not to spoil his hands with the messy task of enforcing his will. That grim responsibility fell to Zadkiel, who bore it with pride. There was no remorse in his heart when he took a life. For his work, he was granted great honor among the brotherhood. That's giving me pause. Like, what is it? Freemasons? Like a fraternal order? I have one of those in my family, somewhere in the family line. People gawked at the train of fine gold cloth that dragged in Zadkiel's wake as he marched to his appointments. But what really caught their eye was the glint of resplendent blade flashing unsheathed in the sunlight. Whenever the sword of justice was witnessed, blood would be spilt on that day. Domain: justice, sin, and reprisal. Card meaning: you have been given permission to act, but your actions don't come without a price to others. The moments when you feel most justified are also when you need to show the greatest respect to others. If there is an opportunity to be merciful, put down your sword and let your power speak for itself. Interesting. So very ruthless energy, but looking to act with restraint. So maybe you're the one watching this unfold. You're seeing the hubris in another. And I mean, when Jesus told him that he couldn't guarantee him those seats, he didn't like chastise him. It was just like, dude, like, I can't. I'm pretty sure he said dude. You know, it's just like this is the way it is. Move on, you know. And mercy, but also consider the idea of wrathful compassion. What are the consequences of not acting, you know, based on what you're seeing? And sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do for yourself, for others, is to put your foot down. We've got 7-Nation Army, the White Stripes. What's this? Billiards. Maybe go play some pool, too. Actually, I'm just going to take all of them. There's only 3. Yeah, so maybe play some pool, you know. You know, I used to play that at the Boys and Girls Club after school all the time. And they had the bumper pool ones. I like that a lot too, like playing with the angles and everything. And you know, if you can't make it to a pool hall, there's like apps where you can play pool on your phone. You can practice those angles and whatnot. And the other song we've got here is Someone's Daughter by Ginger. That's been coming up in my recommendations a lot on YouTube. I really like that music video. Highly recommend. The lyrics, they really had me in my feels quite a bit. But overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates, and if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.